Apple is preparing to release another important update for iPhone users, and that update is iOS 26.4. This new version of Apple's operating system introduces several improvements across core apps, performance upgrades, and a few regional features that could affect certain users. Currently, iOS 26.4 is in its second beta stage, and Apple is expected to continue releasing new beta builds every week before the final public launch. According to current expectations, the official version could arrive by the end of March 2026. In this video, we'll break down everything you need to know about iOS 26.4, including the new features, performance changes, battery impact, and whether you should upgrade or not. Let's start with the most noticeable changes coming to Apple's built-in apps. Improvements in Apple's core apps. One of Apple's main goals with iOS updates is improving the apps that people use every day. In iOS 26.4, several native apps are receiving upgrades designed to improve usability, personalization, and accessibility. Let's begin with the phone app. With iOS 26.4, Apple is making missed calls more informative. When you miss a call, the notification can now include location details such as the caller's city and state, at least for users in the United States. This small addition can be surprisingly helpful. It gives you more context about who might be calling and helps you decide whether returning the call is important. Next, we move to the Shortcuts app, which Apple continues to expand with small customization improvements. In iOS 26.4, a new flip phone glyph has been added to the device section. While this might seem like a minor change, it gives users additional options when designing shortcuts and automations. People who rely heavily on automation workflows will appreciate having more visual customization options. Another app receiving attention in this update is Apple Music. Apple is introducing dynamic playlist covers, allowing users to customize how their playlists appear visually. This makes music collections feel more personal and visually engaging. Instead of using static artwork, users can adjust playlist visuals to match their mood or theme. Apple is also improving music sharing. A redesigned QR code feature for SharePlay makes it easier to share songs and playlists with friends and family. Instead of navigating through multiple menus, users can quickly generate a QR code that others can scan to join a shared listening session. Now let's talk about improvements coming to the Podcasts app. Apple is enhancing accessibility and usability with a new sleep timer glyph, making it easier for users to control playback before going to sleep. Many podcast listeners enjoy falling asleep while listening to content, and this update simplifies the process of setting playback timers. Additionally, iOS 26.4 introduces better support for video podcasts. As more creators include video alongside their podcast episodes, Apple is optimizing playback to ensure smoother performance and better integration with users' media libraries. The Apple TV app is also receiving updates. With iOS 26.4, Apple is expanding subtitle customization options. Users will now be able to adjust subtitle styles more easily, including text appearance and readability settings. These controls can be managed directly from the Settings app, making them easier to access. This is particularly helpful for viewers who rely on subtitles or prefer specific styles for better readability. Region-specific feature for the United Kingdom. One unique addition in iOS 26.4 is a region-specific feature aimed at users in the United Kingdom. Apple is introducing age verification requirements for accessing certain types of content. Users may be asked to confirm that they are 18 years or older before viewing age-restricted material. This change is designed to comply with local regulations and improve online safety, particularly for younger users. Although this extra step might feel slightly inconvenient for some people, it helps Apple align its software with regional laws and provide stronger safeguards for digital content access. Performance improvements in iOS 26.4. Beyond new features, Apple is also focusing on improving system performance. Benchmark tests show noticeable improvements in processing power. Early testing results reveal a single-core score of around 3,783 and a multi-core score of approximately 9,846. These numbers suggest that iOS 26.4 is capable of delivering better speed and smoother performance across many tasks. For everyday users, these improvements can translate into several benefits. Apps may open faster, animations could feel smoother, and the overall interface should respond more quickly. These enhancements are especially important for users who run demanding applications such as mobile games, video editing tools, or creative apps that require significant processing power. Overall, the performance improvements help ensure that iPhones continue to feel fast and responsive even as software becomes more advanced. Battery life considerations. However, every update comes with trade-offs. In the case of iOS 26.4, some early testing suggests that battery efficiency may be slightly lower compared to iOS 26.3. The difference appears to be relatively small, and most users are unlikely to notice a major change in daily usage. Still, people who prioritize maximum battery life may observe a minor reduction in overall efficiency. For the majority of users, the improved performance and new features will likely outweigh the small drawback. But if battery longevity is extremely important to you, it may be worth monitoring early user feedback before upgrading. Expected release timeline. Now let's talk about when iOS 26.4 will actually arrive. Apple is currently following its typical weekly beta release schedule. The next beta version is expected to appear in early March, with additional updates continuing throughout the month. Based on Apple's usual update cycle, the final public release is expected around March 30th, 2026. This timeline also suggests something interesting. iOS 26.4 will likely be the last major update in the iOS 26 series before Apple moves on to the next generation of its operating system. That next version, iOS 27, is expected to be announced in June 2026 during Apple's annual developer event. Looking ahead to Apple's next big update. Every year, Apple reveals the next version of iOS during its Worldwide Developers Conference, commonly known as WWDC. Apple Worldwide Developers Conference. This event usually introduces major design changes, new AI features, and additional tools for developers. Because of this timing, iOS 26.4 is likely acting as a bridge update, refining the current system while preparing the platform for future innovations in iOS 27. Should you upgrade to iOS 26.4? So the big question is, should you upgrade? If you're currently using iOS 26.3, your decision may depend on your priorities. If battery life is your top concern and your phone is already running smoothly, you might prefer staying on the current version for a little longer. However, iOS 26.4 brings several benefits that many users will find appealing. These include improved app features, better customization options, faster performance, and more refined system behavior. For users who enjoy exploring new features and improving their iPhone experience, upgrading will likely be worthwhile. That said, if you prefer maximum stability, it might be best to wait for the final public release rather than installing early beta versions. Beta software can sometimes include minor bugs, even though current testing suggests that iOS 26.4 is already fairly stable. Final thoughts. Overall, iOS 26.4 represents a thoughtful update that focuses on refining the everyday iPhone experience. From customizable playlist covers in Apple Music to improved video podcast support and enhanced subtitle controls, Apple is adding features that make the system more flexible and user-friendly. While there is a small trade-off in battery efficiency, performance improvements and feature additions make this update an attractive option for many users. With the official release expected soon, iOS 26.4 will help bridge the gap between the current system and the next generation of Apple software arriving later this year. And as we move closer to the announcement of iOS 27, this update ensures that iPhone users continue to enjoy a polished and reliable experience.